Thank you for staying with us for this very special edition of the O'Reilly Factor, America Divided. I'm Jesse Waters in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Factor follow-up segment tonight, punishing sanctuary cities. Last night on the Factor, Bill O'Reilly explained why he thinks is what's going to come down for jurisdictions defying the federal government.
To make sanctuary cities comply with federal law, the Trump administration will now withhold money from them in the form of Justice Department grants. That means cities like Seattle, which receive millions of dollars to beef up local law enforcement and institute safety programs, may no longer get that money, which is why Seattle is suing. Whole thing's a giant mess and reflects the huge division in this country. Will sanctuary cities be forced to comply? Doubtful, but they will pay a price.
The Trump administration isn't alone in taking a hard line on sanctuary cities. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is preparing one of the harshest crackdowns in the country.
We've been pushing a piece of legislation in Texas that is going to pass, that I will be signing into law, that imposes even sterner penalties on counties. It will include things such as further defunding them. It will impose fines, and it could impose jail time for the sheriffs to enforce the laws. Oddly enough, these sheriffs could wind up behind the very bars they are releasing these criminals from.
Joining us now from Washington with reaction, Alfonso Aguilar, the president of the Latino Partnership for Conservative, and from Los Angeles, radio talk show host Ethan Bierman. So Ethan, if a job of a sheriff is to keep people in jail, and then the sheriff releases people from jail, isn't that basically aiding and abetting a prison escape?
Well, I mean, if he's releasing them when he doesn't have proper dispensation to do so, such as somebody hasn't served their time or whatever else. But the sheriff does not have to do the job of ICE. And it's actually very funny to listen to conservatives on this one, because it was their very own beloved Justice Antonin Scalia who wrote the majority opinion in 1997 in Prince v. United States that says the federal government in no way can force sheriffs to do the work of the federal government.
But that's not what is happening in Texas. The governor, a state official, is telling a local official what to do. The feds don't have anything to do with that, so that analogy is bogus. Alfonso, if the law enforcement community was refusing to enforce laws on abortion or guns or drugs, there'd be a huge uproar, don't you think?
No, I think so. And look, this issue is being politicized. This is common sense. I agree with President Trump and Governor Abbott. What they're trying to do, what they're trying to tell local law enforcement is if they detain somebody who has a serious criminal record or who's engaging in serious criminal activity, they should refer him to federal authorities. Why would anyone be against that? I don't know. I mean, look what happened to Kate Stanley. This guy had a serious criminal record. He was a felon, and the San Francisco Police Department refused to hand over this individual to federal authorities. That's ridiculous. So I believe that we have to be very strong. We want to get criminals out, and I don't know why would anyone would oppose that.
Yeah, Ethan, why do you oppose keeping criminal illegal aliens in prison?
I don't, and actually you're completely misrepresenting exactly what happened with the Kate Stanley case. That isn't what happened. They didn't refuse to keep him in prison. They released him when the court ordered them to release him.
No, that's not what happened.
I disagree with.
ICE tried to slap a detainer on them and keep him there so they could then detain him and issue deportation proceedings, and they defied that order and let him out. That's what happened in San Francisco, and that's why Kate Stanley is dead.
Opinion, they don't have to listen to the federal government. They don't have to do the federal government's job.
That has nothing to do with what the Scalia's opinion is about. This is something that's happening in Texas, exactly. And if Greg Abbott wants to crack down on sheriffs that aren't cooperating and letting illegals out, there's nothing illegal about that.
But Ethan is not answering the question. Why don't you want local police, state police, to refer individuals with serious criminal records to federal authorities? What is the problem with that? Why is this such a big issue? We should be united on this issue. I just don't understand why such an issue for you.
Yeah, Ethan, 15 seconds, last word, go ahead.
I don't have an issue with referring violent criminals to federal authorities for deportation, but that's not generally what is going on. We have very specific individual examples that we're talking about, but overall,
well,
you're talking about different things. Greg Abbott, of course, has control over sheriffs.
If Kate
totally
Steinle was your daughter, I think you'd have a different opinion about sanctuary cities. Guys, we got to run.